Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome into the Paladins Pro Circuit Community Broadcast. I'm Fawn, of course, joined here by my main man, Kresnik. We're going to get right into the European bracket earlier in the afternoon, I should say. I was going to say earlier in the morning. I've been up for so long at this point. I mean, quarantine's just getting to me at this point, man. I mean, I'm just, my time's all over the place mentally, but regardless, we're still here for the European bracket, and I'm excited to see Interstellar versus mixalazeub.
Yeah, we can see how these teams have kind of changed as the split has moved on, and now that we're again back on that secondary rotation of the round robin, I feel like both teams have made changes. Interstellar maybe just having made changes to their names more than anything. With remember how things looked last week. Flasho changing his name to Demo Heart, and Veal expanding his name, so a bunch of different things. I just had to make sure I muted myself because I had a moment of absolute panic getting ready for that. But Israel mixalazeub, these are two teams that qualified in from the relegations bracket, and we'll see kind of where they lie now that they've played for a little bit. And I actually was about to go for the map bans, but there is something I have to let you guys know. Game 1 of this set was a disqualification. Mixalazeub was not able to field 5 right away, but by the time that initial timer passed, they had a roster ready to go for Game 2. What that means for me, though, is that the places I normally have my map picks and bans are not where they are, so I have to go somewhere else to grab them, as I see here. Okay, so the map bans from Mixalazeub were Warder's Gate and Frog Isle, and Interstellar banned Bazaar and Shattered Desert. But the first map from between this set goes to Interstellar, and then we end up on Interstellar's map pick, which is actually going to be Splitstone Quarry.
Okay, starting off everything on Splitstone. So of course that means we can see a little bit more of the snipers. We've seen Strix, we've seen the Canessa. Of course, we have these people that have played long angles before in BR. We've even seen the return of Leon to try and counter out those snipers as well. So I'm interested to see what both of these teams are going to end up drafting for themselves. As once again, Splitstone Quarry is going to be the map. You guys, of course, can see it right there. It's a matter of what do you foresee the bans being here in a second, Kresnik? I mean, just
Eevee.
obviously, right. I was about to say, yeah, obviously exempting the Eevee. What do you foresee being the case here?
Well, it's EU, so I think off-tanks tend to get prioritized in this region, but I would also kind of lean in the direction of verticality beyond just the Eevee. I mean, I could see it Maver and Androxus getting eliminated here as well. I think those are characters that can function pretty effectively on Split, and generally having that high ground control can be good. I think Leon also can belong there in that ban column, but it'll be Ruckus and Atlas to start the second phase of the draft instead. Mixalazeub don't want to play against that. Atlas, again, I would love to see kind of a vertical flanker if they don't think they're comfortable playing with that, but Rom instead fills in that role. Basically just ground Ruckus. We really do have enough. This community really just loves relating characters to other characters, right? Barrack used to be Fat
Right, yeah.
Cassie. Lex is Ground Andro. There's so many different comparisons. We have all those ways to put them back together, but both of the Ruckuses banned, and Interstellar have their pick of the pocket supports, their pick of the backline hit scans, kind of whatever they want to start the draft on Split.
Let's see what Interstellar start off with here. I mean, we've seen supports locked in first more than anything, but we've also seen Ash being locked in a couple of times too. That is very telling of the aggression that a lot of these compositions are centered around, especially when they lock in Ash first. Mixalazeub, however, are going to even things up by making sure they take care of that Anara, followed suit by the Androxus.
Yeah, and I mentioned the verticality really important. Mixalazeub, they value that. They get Androxus, probably has the highest range of the vertical moving hit scans. I mean, Maeve has effectively infinite poke, but it's not hit scans, a little bit harder to hit. You can actually get dodged, which I think is the most important thing there. Interstellar now going to pick this Vivian for their controller player. I believe Barcode is their member that will be piloting that Vivian. So strong character to have for that. Hard for the Andro to dive onto. Can melt the Vivian. What kind of support will they add onto it? I guess it looks like it'll be the Corvus. So Corvus, the pocket supports to heal that Ash, to heal that Vivian, and to get healed up from all the damage that they deal. I will restate, by the way, as some people are probably now just coming into the game, Mixalazeub were disqualified for Game 1, did not have 5 onto the field. I say onto the field like it's a football game, but they didn't have 5 people ready to play in the time it took. But once that initial time for the Game 1 DQ passed, they had enough people to get into game and start map number 2.
It seems like so far the Corvus sort of puts a damper into the plan of mixalazeub, in my personal opinion. I mean, the Andrew's going to have a bit of a tough time, but not unless you lock in the other pocket healer. You lock in Genos for that Luminary buff, and Victor to follow suit soon after that. I mean, this is a pretty strong composition already on the side of mixalazeub. I mean, we had talked a little bit about it yesterday about the Inara and the Genos combo not being the best, not able to keep Inara up alive well enough, but you won't really have to worry about Inara taking too much damage if you're flanking your damage dealer. Your backliner is going to be able to pump enough into Interstellar, and they are going to be able to win a lot of those fights. So this is a very strong draft already on the side of mixalazeub. Interstellar, though, we're going to finish things off with Shaolin. Potential last pick here. Don't really have a healer. Well, they do have a healer, but they don't have another frontliner. If they want to lock it in, or we can go the triple DPS route, and it seems like that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Leon for the finishing touch on Interstellar draft.
Triple damage too, so not even a flanker for them, just 3 DPSs that they're going to have to push through. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, I think I was given this draft incorrect. There's a Vivian listed on here, but there's actually no Vivian in the game. I will have to correct that draft for you guys in a minute. I'm not sure what they picked in that second slot instead. Androx is actually flipped on the other team. And ban list. Interesting for what we see here. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Never mind. I am incorrect. I had to move that. Leon actually not going to be the last pick here. It's actually going to be the Maeve, so disregard me for that one here. Maeve, so it makes sense. They have that verticality. They have that poke, exactly what they want. mixalazeub now have to find, well, I guess they have a pretty solid answer for it. I think they just want a second support to follow up with that Genos.
Yeah, and there it is. With the situation being Maeve, that changes the skew, or at least changes the view and the game plan of what we were perceiving Interstellar to have at first. Maeve is going to be able to apply a lot of pressure and maybe even contest this Androxus. We've seen it happen before a couple of times, both of them duking it out in sort of an aerial battle, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to try and play around the back line, see if Maeve even tries to go in, see if she's just going to opt to go for that peel if necessary. But if you're running double back line, it sort of puts the pressure on Maeve to perform and see if she can get that dive, especially when you end it off on Cassie. So that's a great look to round out the draft on mixalazeub. Same thing for Interstellar, though. Whose draft do you seem to like more here, Chris?
I actually kind of really like the Cassie Victor Andro buffed, by that Genos. That 50% damage can be pretty lethal, and I'm just not a huge fan of solo tank Ashe in general. I feel like Ashe kind of falls apart unless they specifically have that, assert dominance up. When assert dominance is down, Ashe doesn't really live unless the Corvus focuses all healing onto them, regardless. Fortress Breaker or not, the damage is just being burnt straight through it, and Ashe does not really have a great time trying to stay alive. But Splitstone Quarry, maybe they could just play off that aggression instead. They can go in with the Maeve, and we can head into the game to see exactly how they can make it work.
Let's see. I mean, how do you envision a lot of the I can't imagine that Ashe wants to go to point and try and contest against Inara of all people, right? Even with the Genos pocket at her back. I mean, that's a tall order for Ashe to sort of have. This sort of draft, to me, says that maybe they want to try and see if they can fight off of the point. They don't want to push that much aggression on. They want to push as much aggression onto them, as possible. So that way they can worry about the point capture later. Is this what that draft sort of says to you, Chris?
Maybe, but they also don't have double flanker to kind of follow up with it. So one of those backlines is going to have to push, right? One of them is going to have to make a move. I'm just waiting for... Okay, I knew it was going to be spreading influence, but we got to hover over it. We got to show the people exactly what you should be running on that Corvus when you manage to get in. But we'll take a look at exactly how Snaze plays this start, how aggressive they can get. Early damage from this Cassie, but look at that booby trap space. Uber Spady knocked back immediately. And Interstellar claim this forward side pack out completely, just getting torn apart by these flankers on this side. No one willing to help on the side of Mix, and Interstellar find first blood.
First blood already on the side of Interstellar. Snaze doesn't want to give up this positioning and very clearly wants to cement his spot by the fidget spinners. Vivian has to come around and make sure that she's provides some extra sustainability, or I should say some extra survivability for her teammate. Stays in the corner. Inara didn't turn to look at him either. They do take care of him. That could have been kind of catastrophic depending on the scenario. Luckily, they are able to at least take care of him. And Demo Heart's going to go down next. Now mixalazeub are the ones in control of the objective. While Interstellar on a very, very aggressive beginning Gonna have to stall themselves out a little bit longer, see if they can make it back to the point, if they can even get more aggressive. And it seems like Snaze wants to opt for round 2 electric boogaloo, honestly, on the side. My finish.
And look at this, Leandro here. Barcode falls pretty quickly to the push there, but they end up trading one. They lose their Inara on the point, so cap time not happening for mixalazeub. They have to rotate a DPS over there. This is, again, the biggest downside when you can't sit there and cap this point, can't sprint away. Is Princess getting bullied now by Demoheart, previously Flasho on this Mave, now operating after this name change with some decent damage already being taken. This verticality is so important because if this Mave wants to dive into the back line, he can just go right over this wall, just spot anything out and slow down this vertical push from Leandro.
Oh, and very good follow-up from Barcode to make sure that as soon as Davizzy was low, Demoheart couldn't get it. And oh my goodness, I didn't even notice that. Princess Pekka just walks right on in and captures the objective literally from under the nose of Interstellar. Everyone was around the point. Nobody was looking. I guess the Ashe just stepped off a point when she thought she had captured it at the last second. But mixalazeub, they actually literally just come right in, put one toe on the objective, and manage to capture it.
Yeah, and we can see Barcode taking the space kind of after losing that point in that fashion. They managed to win the fight, take the high ground, but look at that, the distraction last second. No more damage able to come in, though, to that Inara. They just lose Barcode for it, but it's still 1-for-1, and now the zone can keep coming. Why not take this fight if you can? It's so good to have this area controlled, and Interstellar want to stay in the spawn as long as possible. With this Mave and this Ashe kind of sprawling out into them. They can even use the Assert Dominance here, but they're just going to knock them all around and keep them in the Entropic Breach.
Yeah, it seems like they have to forfeit the positioning it is that they have. Snaze not even getting an option to use the Assert Dominance. Like you said, they only wanted to use one of the ultimates, and the Entropic Breach was the only one that they wanted to use. See if it could help them out on the zone. But in fact, Snaze went down. The rest of them have to back up. That's their only front liner. They can't really see if they can contest any longer. It was Payday. You're not going to find those shots to finish off onto Demoheart on the Mave. As the cart has now finally started to roll right on through. Now Demoheart's going to go down to the Victor, but it's going to be traded out thanks to Barcode. Davizzy's going to go down soon after that. An engagement underground has made it so that Barcode turns that single kill into a double. Princess Pekka has to retreat, but that's a Nara for you, honestly. Puts up that wall and makes it out by the skin of her teeth, I should say. But they don't want to give this one up. They want to push more and more aggression upon these people, and the booby trap is going to go off, making sure that both princesses go down. Sorry, guys, on the side of mixalazeub, your princesses, both of them are actually in another castle right now.
We have no idea who's going to inherit the Empire now. Maybe they can find a prince somewhere else. But Interstellar, look at this. You never see this happen. You never see the retake of the enemy high ground after a fight like that. But Barcode helped them win it so dominantly that they were able to just walk right back in to make it happen. Andro actually cuts into the middle of their team. The backlines were so split that K-Kiesel just ended up being completely isolated. Caught out by Devozy on the Androxus. So they get back to the cart, but there's still half of the track movement to go. Vivian trying to just get a little bit of early damage and poke them out and punish the fact they only have a Genos, right? If they can get everyone a little bit hurt at once, Genos can't really keep up, and then the Corvus advantage comes in, but they send the Ashe into the backline instead. Now maybe this will let them focus on the Inara.
They want to try and take care of Cassie. Wall goes up to see if they can peel, but it's not going to find much, especially when Barcode tosses out that sensor mine. It's going to blow up immediately. He's not going to find the last hit, but Shaolin is going to find the cover up for that one. Now Princess Pekka is the only one remaining on point, and that's going to be a tie 1-for-1 as Interstellar have now tied things up in a situation where I didn't think they would have needed to tie things up. I think they would have been the ones that would have captured the point, but in a change of events, mixalazeub are going to take the first point, and Interstellar are going to be forced to tie things up, if anything. All 10 ultimates are in the game right now, though, 5 per team. Who do you think has the better ultimate economy here? Who do you think has the more impactful ultimates?
I think having Midnight and having the Assert Dominance, it's hard to side against the Ashe, I would say, but I mean, Seismic Crash, Time and Space, that combo can make up for it, right? If you get just 2 picks with it, you can do enough there. I want to point out really quickly, triple the kills on the Vivian, but more damage being dealt by the Shaolin. So love seeing Sha, I think, finding some value here. But I want to watch this Assert Dominance. I want to see how what they can make out of it if they can find some space, find some kills. I think the most impactful part of Ashe's kit is this Assert Dominance, but they're going to use an Accursed Arm early. everyone's hiding. Nothing really happening either way. 2 ults to just find that Shaolin. Enviel just walks away like it's nothing.
Yeah, Davzi now has to consider another position for himself. His demo heart is there, tossing up daggers into the high ground. Through time and space gets used, and Shaolin is unable to move out of the way. Assert dominance right over the wall. Going to be able to find it too in a perfect spot as well. Directly onto the Victor. Was going to dash right out of the ultimate almost instantly, just trying to secure those kills, but can't stay back there any longer. 33% for mixalazeub is what's available to them right now. Interstellar have not been able to find a single percentage on the point this round.
Yeah, I know it seems weird to have the Ashe diving out of her ultimate, but I think it makes sense in that situation. Just don't stagger there and make this fight any harder than it needs to be. Unfortunate miss by Enviel. Got the cripple, so might be able to follow this up with the heat haze, but just slowed, unable to chase down Uberspady, who barely lives by the skin of his teeth. And mixalazeub give up the cap time to try to find the kill, but they don't get anything, and even that, they give up to Vozy with Barcode rotating in on this Vivian.
Inara's also super low, and they're going to take care of her by fidget spinners, as 9% is already available to Interstellar. Victor has the barrage. Of course, it's always just a matter of when they want to use these ultimates that makes it the most effective time for their team. As Victor is still up in high ground, same thing for everyone else on the side of Interstellar. They're just holding their angles as best as they can. Now that Princess Pekka has made it back to point, though, it seems like they forced him all the way off. Snaze, Demo Heart, they both go down, as overtime is now a factor, but it won't be for much longer since Princess Pekka goes down. It's going to mean that they're going to be able to at least keep the positioning and the pressure on the objective for as best as they can, but Davzi just comes right on over, finds the kill, and mixalazeub find themselves second point.
Retake with the second Accursed Arms, so Devosi having, I think, a great round here with the Corvus on Interstellar, now being able to escape from the pressure that Davzi and Uberspady were able to put on here. Early poke up top, he's actually applying a lot of pressure, making them turn for him. And they distract enough to catch Snaze in the low ground. Snaze trying to hold that area alone, and Pekka just walks in with the pressure from the Cassie behind, and they find that, but they trade tank for tank.
But already finds one. Another frontliner goes down. And at the same time, though, Shaolin trying to back up into Mineshaft is not going to find his escape. All he's going to find is a clip with Victor's name on it, if anything, to find that following last hit onto the Shaolin. 1 minute and 45 seconds is still on the clock, and the cart has already made it this far. The through time and space getting utilized. Shaolin just respawned and comes out of spawn and gets sniped with the through time and space. Now Barcode goes down soon after that. And everyone else on the side of Interstellar, they have to hold on for as best as they can. Snaze manages to not find the damage, but the Corvus is the one that finds the last hit onto the Androxus. So now Princess Pekka has to back up and give a little bit more respect to the team of Interstellar.
Pretty sure that was just the Entropic Breach chip damage, managing to find that. But Interstellar smartly are going to take this area up top. You can see all the backlines setting up here just to spam down. Devosi, though, he's kind of ahead of his team. He needs his team to be there before he can really take this fight, but he has enough cooldowns to survive. But hey, wait a minute, they distracted for Pekka. Pekka managed to walk in behind them. I'm going to watch this in RPOV. They have Seismic Crash. They could use it. This would be massive if they wanted to, but they're holding off and giving Barcode a chance to find these picks, too, for the Vivian already. Probably more realistically, but getting pinned down by this Victor, which Demo Heart should get rid of for them. Them wanting to hold off on their ultimates, I think, bit them there. They could have just spent one, stunned 4 people, and had a fantastic collapse from the rest of the team.
Well, they got 35 seconds left to make it back to the car, which I feel like would be no issue if they weren't already holding these beautiful angles on the side of Interstellar. If they get a kill on the Princess Pekka, that might be pretty huge. Forces out the Earthen Guard, though, and she has to find a better way to position herself so that she does not die. Reversal goes up as Androxus tries to engage on the Shaolin up in high ground. As 10 seconds are still remaining, they find a good trade. 1 for 1, but the health pools on mixalazeub are pretty low. A Cursed Arm goes out, and so does the Reversal, just to keep himself alive for a little bit longer. Davzi is not long for this world as he goes down soon after that, and his teammates are following him to the grave soon after. And whether they get the Cassie or not, that's all she wrote for this round as Interstellar tie things up 2-2.
Yeah, the push by mixalazeub. Princess Pekka really struggling, I think, on this scenario. I mean, 1 in 11. Other than the miracle play where they walked in front of the entire team of Interstellar and just stole the cap away, I haven't really felt the Inara's impact. as much as you do in some of these other games. It might just be the comp that they're playing into, though. What does Anar realistically do into Maeve, Vivian, these characters that really kind of just win those fights into them? But they need to do more than just play off of the fact that the Inara soaks damage, right? There's like, all right, they're shooting at Inara, let's go. They can have setups with these seismic crashes. They can walk in with the Inara wall someone in. I feel like I'm not really seeing any of that utility play getting used at all.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's really going to find much value either if they don't use it at the most optimal times, right? I mean, mixalazeub, I'm sure they have these ultimates, but it's a matter of when they use it, which I'm not too sure what the Entropic Breach was going to solve right there. But even at the same time, Princess Pekka has found her escape. Won't go down here. Earthen Guard was up for her for a little bit longer, but she's going to make sure that she's at least healed back up to full, thanks to Genos and thanks to a little bit of that out-of-combat healing. As now Davizzi is engaged on the high ground with the fight one-on-one against the Maeve. Doesn't seem they're going to really find much for right now, as everyone's sort of just biding their time. Seismic Crash, see if they can start things off. They find one hit through time and space, goes wide though, and not going to be able to find the target right there. And even still, Inara lives far longer than she should have. Same thing for the Victor. So many low health pools, assert dominance all the way into the back as well, and then leaves it. Once again, I mean, you're not really able to keep a lot of that hold on the places that you're ulting to. So that might be another point capture from mixalazeub already, making it a 3-2.
I mean, three mid-fight wins for Mix in a row, right? They just can't cap. They can't push through. I think the comp that Interstellar have is just so good at defending. I want to see if Barcode is willing to push. Nope, just going to fight this Genos. I mean, how do they get away from that when the collapse is coming in from the rest of the team? Vivian controlling that angle with Shaw watching the other, and they should catch this Victor as well. And yeah, Victor knows it, too. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, but we'll just go by Princess for that Victor. Not able to live through the dive from the Shaolin and the Maeve onto the high ground. But so this time they're playing it a little safer. They're not doing the same thing they did last time when they were willing to walk up and push the high ground. Unless the fight is super clean and you either instantly wipe them or you get a really long stagger on them retreating, you can't really take that ground safely. They know it. They're not going to push their luck too much. They'll hold this space back up as they take it, and then maybe find a way to get the Maeve to rotate into the back and pressure this Genos a little bit.
Alright, Uber's Payday. He's finding good damage, but no kills have been submitted as of right now. The barrage seems to be the way they wanted to try and do that, even with the accursed arm too. So that's not going to be enough. All they're going to do is end up dying. Both Victor and Androxus are now gone, as Cassie has to retreat, but really can't even find her way out. That's a minute and 15 on the clock, as now they have just made their way back to the cart, but weren't able to submit anything. With Princess Pekka dies here, that's going to be a pretty big stagger for mixalazeub, especially when they need to make it back to the point.
And this is what could open the door for them to get forward and hold the space like they had last time, but they're not willing to push and find any of those kills. Devosi able to escape with Uber Spady replacing him on the lava side of the map. If they had pushed and caught someone out and got one more kill, then they could have snowballed it forward. But for now, they'll sit on the high ground and keep a closer eye on the bottom area. You can see Pekka tried to sneak in behind. Can't make it work, but another kill for Demoheart on Maeve. Above, constantly stopping this Entroxus from doing whatever they want. He could even collapse into the back right now if he wants to, and he will.
Seems like at least it pays off well for him, as now he doesn't just find one, but he finds a double kill for Demoheart on the Maeve, and Keels is going to at least be able to make sure that he finds one of his own. That's 3 members down on the side of mixalazeub, with a couple of them now respawning to make their way back to cart. Interstellar have lost one, and they are pretty far behind in the long run of things, as now they have to find their way in. Demoheart does make his way all the way back in. That's going to be a pretty big look, if anything, especially with how mixalazeub have to find their way cemented onto the card. It seems like they've been pushing it, but all they're doing is they're stalled out. They've already lost a member, and here we go. They already see that Demoheart finds one. Now they're going to be looking at the Victor. Another one. Demoheart with a nice little double kill once again. He's going to find the Androxus here. Reversal goes up, but he's not going to stay alive for much longer. Now we're tied at a 3 for 3.
The fact that the cart never really got past that corner, that's just so hard to fight, right? The one person you have that can go over that roof on the side and actually duel the backline is your Androxus, and the Androxus is just losing these fights. I mean, look at the KD difference between them. Demoheart is 18-4 versus the 8 and 14 that's been coming out of this Androxus. Definitely, I think, wanting more, but he's still pressure when he needs to. I think just the members of Interstellar, the Corvus, is healing them through this. Not as much more healing than the Genos, but Genos is healing all the time, and Corvus's heals are usually at impact timings, if you know what I mean, when it's going to, I think, matter the most. But a lot of ultimates up for every ultimate up for both teams. I want to see a setup play from mixalazeub. There's not a ton of Resil on there's no Resil on Shaolin or Maeve. Just make them the target and go for it.
There you go. Uber's Payday already finding the opening shots directly on the Ash. There's not going to be much to be said here as the barrage gets utilized and misses the Shaolin. He retreats to safety and out of line of sight of the Victor, who's already ulting. Same thing for the Accursed Arm can be said for the Androxus. Now Davzi has to find better ways to get in. They already tossed out a couple of daggers for him, as now everyone else has to really reconsider with 3% to 12 as they immediately drop the Entropic Breach. Tries to find a way to get out, but that projection is not going to be able to escape from this scenario. Now Davzi has made his way all the way into the back line. But everyone's pretty much pushing forward on the side of Interstellar as far as I know. They know he's back there now and trying to answer respectively, and they do. Davzi does go down, but 12% still for mixalazeub and 3 for Interstellar. No one's been on the point this entire time.
Yeah, I want to say, though, good reactions by Snaze, the fact that he was able to get away from turning the corner into a Cassie with almost nothing left. It looks like he wants to assert dominance, use the roof to cancel, and he will just to live through the seismic crash. He kind of absorbs that ultimate for himself and is making so much room for Barcode to just walk in the height of the wall by P.E.K.K.A. lets him shoot right over and find the kill.
Snaze and Demo Heart, excuse me, are going to find 1 kill apiece. That's 2 members down on the side of mixalazeub as now Demo Heart has to find a way to make his way forward, and Davzi has to find a way to make sure that he can get in on the unsuspecting people of Interstellar, but they did see him. They know he's back there. It's a matter of this pressure. What will Princess P.E.K.K.A. be able to create here on the side of mixalazeub? Davzi has not been able to really find much of anything, as now Uber's Payday goes down soon after that. Demo Heart and Davzi are engaged on the side underground. He's going to go down. Davzi loses that trade, as now Princess P.E.K.K.A. doesn't really have much of a way to touch. 99% for them. That's going to be it. What seemed to be very controlled point fights on the side of mixalazeub then swing the way towards the last round of Interstellar, taking that one for their second point. I was going to say first point, but really their second point.
What a slow ending, though. I mean, I was looking at P.E.K.K.A. I'm like, all right, mixalazeub, they lost 2, but they have overtime, right? The Inara's still alive. The Inara's still doing whatever. And then I looked at where she was on the top down. I'm like, there's no way.
You're right, yeah.
She went all the way out to Saw for no reason, even though no one was really fighting him. So interesting decision, I guess, to do that kind of long rotate all the way away. And we can take a look at the stats for that game and see how things looked in the numbers at the end. Damage from the Victor, decent, but everyone, all the DPS in triple digits on Interstellar. Surprisingly, Demo Heart actually did the least damage, but I think it makes sense. With Envil, looks like changing his name back since this game was played. Barcode, though, topping the damage charts on his team. Not too surprising. Only 400 separating the Victor and the Vivian on a map that I would normally favor Victor, just because it's so wide. You like having those open sight lines, but still able to make it work. Damage, though, might have been a little bit boosted by the 179,000 that Inara managed to tank.
I mean, provided the fact that, of course, Victor did have a lot of the long sight lines that he could try his best to control on the side of Splitstone Corey, but Snaze and the rest of them, I mean, Snaze, Demo Heart, Envel, Kikils, Barcode, all of them were firing on all cylinders consistently. 21 and 13 for Vivian, but 24 and 18 for Demo Heart. 44 assists for the Corvus, 10 kills, 10 deaths, and 18 assists for the Shaolin, 8 and 20. I mean, these are all beautiful slash lines on the side of Interstellar. When they were ready to go in, they were ready to dive, and they were ready to dive hard. And it was hard for mixalazeub to put a stop to that, no matter how much damage they had from their backliners. It just proved to be too much.
You know that the stats are good when I thought you actually read them wrong. You said 24 and 18. I thought that was like the KD, and I'm like, wait, no, Fawn, that's much higher than that. And then I realized when it's so good, you can think it's only 2 numbers. You know, they had a good game there. So Interstellar, I mean, they started off 1-0 because of the DQ for game 1. They managed to push it to the next one, and mixalazeub now, for the first time in the set, get to pick the map they want to go to, and it looks like their choice will be Bright Marsh. So going from a more vertical map to a significantly less vertical map on that end. It still has some use of that verticality, though. You can still go over the roofs on the side, depending on if Androxus gets through or gets prioritized kind of early. You can definitely see those picks coming in. Mixalazeub will be first pick, and I would be shocked, I think, if they let like the Ruckus, the Andro, any of those characters that can go over things and dive into the backline through this draft phase.
Exactly, because we've seen how terrorizing that Ruckus can be. Same thing for the Rom, same thing for the Ashe, but Ashe can do that without the help of the Rom or the Ruckus. Ruckus and Rom just make that a lot harder for you to deal with, especially on a map like Bright Marsh, where you said the verticality is not as prevalent as it is on Splitstone, but it still is enough to be concerned about. Having control over Lid with Ruckus, or really just with anyone with verticality, even with a Willow, can be very dangerous. So you have to be careful on this map who you decide to let through as we head right into the picks and bans phase of what could be the final point for Interstellar. Will mixalazeub be able to try and fight back? It seems like they're going to get rid of Ashe, though. And I think that's a great start to this draft, or the bans at least.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Ashe seemed to do pretty good last game. I mean, I think Snae's maybe not having the best time on the first couple rounds. The Assert Dominances weren't really hitting where they needed to. But hey, guess what? As soon as the Assert Dominance was in the way of the team, made space, protected the rest of his team, they won. That was the only mid they won. The only mid with the Assert Dominance had kind of a severe impact. So definitely don't want to get rid of that now that they've figured out what the secret may be for them. Vivian also following, so not wanting to deal with Barcode on that champion again on a map that's a little bit even better for it. mixalazeub with Ruckus and Atlas gone. I mean, Rom available. They could go that route if they want to here, and it could be something that works. We've seen it picked highly in NA, but it's valued a little bit less in EU, and Victor will be the pick instead. So maybe a little bit of a poke towards Barcode, saying, hey, we're going to aim for your champion pool, and what can you pull out that we're not ready for?
Well, only time we'll be able to tell, my friend, is we don't quite know what Interstellar have drafted for themselves yet. It's going to be the Inara. They're going to start things off with a very survivable, a very, very tanky frontliner, followed by the Androx. It's a common combo that we've seen in the first two picks of anyone's draft. mixalazeub, once again, taking that Victor first. I agree with the first pick, Victor. I mean, you don't want to take Rom into an unknown composition, right? You don't want to have him be one of your stronger tanks and not be able to live long enough for that to matter. His dive potential to really fly, if anything. Victor and Corvus will be on the side of mixalazeub with Eevee. Very interesting.
Okay.
Is going to be their third pick on the side of blue.
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing Eevee. Fun to watch, is able to get into the backlines and do a lot of pressure. So they think that they're going to be drafting someone that can't handle the pressure maybe from the other team. Eevee can do that high ground control that we thought would be kind of a big deal here. So Interstellar now maybe wants something that can help deal with that. So it'll be Shaolin, Sand Trap. We don't necessarily see it as much into fighting the flankers. We see it sometimes for it, but usually you see it kind of against the more mobile tanks, playing that backline a little more. But he can still do that fantastically, I think, with the crippling arrow, as we know. And they'll pair it with a Genos. So Inara Genos combining, it looks like, can work again. I don't think Inara necessarily needs the double support, but you need to have triple DPS, and you need to be aggressive with that Inara to make the most out of your damage reduction, right? You're on a timer. Your health pool won't last forever when you're not being pocketed. So use that DR just to walk someone down and then bully them with Inara doing actually quite a bit of damage when paired with the Genos.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to argue with that Luminary buff. I mean, we talk about it so much. That 15% extra damage means that's going to be hard to trade into him, no matter if you're locked into a 1v1 with anybody on the side of Interstellar. So very well picked in terms of healers for Interstellar so far. I see that they're going to be with the Maeve, though. Victor, Corvus, Eevee, Maeve. So we're on the double flank and one backliner on the side of mixalazeub.
What tank do you think they're going to pick up?
I'm actually not too sure. I will assume it's Fernando, if anything.
Okay,
it has to be, right? Oh.
Yeah.
Am I seeing that right?
Fawn, it's Strix. I don't know how to break it to you, buddy, but it is a Strix. It's a Strix tank.
Oh.
Or maybe it's a Maeve tank. I mean, we don't know who necessarily
sure.
will be filling in that role, but one final pick left for Interstellar on the other side to deal with the quad. We haven't seen a no tank so far this phase. I think we really haven't seen it.
Yeah.
That much. They'll pick the Leon. They'll pick the Leon to play into it. So 2 backlines plus the Androxus to fight into them. The no tank comp from mixalazeub. They can just get super aggressive, I guess. I mean, Eevee Maeve play together. Victor Strix deny the poke, but how do they stop Interstellar from capping? I don't think they can.
I don't think they do. I'm not sure what you can do on the side of mixalazeub that's going to stop Inara from just being there, because that's all she's going to be doing for Interstellar, I think. I think the DPS have this one sort of in the bag. I mean, sure, you got a Corvus heal. You're going to take spreading influence. You're going to make sure that everybody's topped off very well. You get that lifesteal when they have the marks. But I just don't know. I don't see them burning through Inara for free and not having to worry about Leon or Shaolin or Androxus for a matter of fact. So I'm not too sure, honestly. Hopefully things will look up for them this map, but in my personal opinion, I don't see that happening at all, Kresnik.
You know, I agree with chat. They're going to put Strix with Nocturnal and just have him stand on point and kite the Inara the entire time. Maybe rush Nimble, maybe rush Haven. We'll see exactly how the strategy ends up working when we get into the game here, mixalazeub. And I promise you guys, I put that draft in right. There is not a tank to be seen on the blue team for mixalazeub as they have over their things. Hey, look, I was right, Nimble. We got Nocturnal. Look, everything they need for this Strix point tank strategy.
Yeah, that's going to be a wonderful strategy when it works out for how long does how long does his stealth last, by the way, or before they get Illuminate, I should say, if that's the case.
No Illuminate taken yet though.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. As everyone's mounting up and ready to fight, they're going to be going in a quad DPS composition. I haven't seen this since I think this happened last year at Worlds. Like during the PPL, like during the World Championship, I believe. I think
no, that was the double Quint DPS composition.
Yes, I
and
do
them
remember.
Ran into each other. If you remember that, the classic
yes,
TDM.
I do.
But look at this, first blood. I mean, I guess how do you not get first blood with 4 DPSs? But their health is actually looking pretty good thanks to this Corvus. But they're just not getting any cap time.
Okay, Uber's paid. He already fought. Is it going to be the first one that goes down on the side of mixalazeub, and Demo Heart is going to find another kill for his team. 81%, but okay, mixalazeub, I understand. You know, I mean, if you're confident in the draft, then by all means make it work for you. 81% for Interstellar with a 27% and climbing for mixalazeub, but you can't really peek anyone in a 4 DPS composition right now. And as soon as NVO lands, he's gonna get deleted almost instantly. Demoheart is gonna find one, but here comes Inara once again on point. As soon as Uber tries to contest, that's just gonna be it for him. Princess Pekka drops extremely low. Corvus heals him almost to full off of one burst, but that's not gonna be enough for him. Every time they try and stand on point, they just lose because of Inara. Who would have guessed?
I mean, it's close though. It's really close.
I mean, it
actually.
is. You're right.
The fights are honestly, we're going back and forth for it as Barcode goes down trying to push. I want to make a note really quickly. I can't jump to it now, but he's actually running the Mutu dash build, the Alacrity reset. You don't get to see it as much, but he is going to be zooming around the map as we get a little bit further in. Midnight now, mixalazeub, they charge us all pretty quick, and these fights are honestly back and forth other than on the objective, the one thing that matters. I mean, the duels between the DPSs are going kind of both ways, but they just can't make it work when they can't get any objective pressure.
There we go, a minute and 45 seconds remaining, and we have a stall on the side of mixalazeub in a zone to make sure that Interstellar cannot make it back to car as easily as they probably will want to. And Tropic Breach as well is going to get used, and it manages to dismount not only Inara, but make sure that she can't make it back to point as easily. But even still, they're going to lose on the retreat here. 89 health for Leon is not the best look, but she'll be healed right back up and topped off enough to keep on pushing forward. Now that everyone is there, we're going to try and put as much pressure on them as possible. And my man is sliding right now all over the place. I mean, I have nothing else to say about that. You are right. It is definitely the Mutu build, for sure.
Yeah, look at this flank right now really quickly from Pekka in the back line, trying to trade in, but not able to find it. Now, while we're just having a stalemate here, people are still asking chat. So again, for those of you who are just coming in, mixalazeub were DQ'd for game 1. So that because they did not have all 5 people available to play, which is also why they're kind of playing musical chairs with this roster, why Uber Spady's coming in. He is normally their sub. But just letting you know, this is the second game you're seeing, but the third game officially because of that game 1 DQ. As Interstellar now take this round up. Quick actually grip onto Mabel, catch that. Corvus trying to run away, but might not be able to escape.
And I don't think anyone else on the side of mixalazeub can get out of this one, except for Evie, of course. Making sure she can retreat to high ground if necessary. But even still, her trying to touch is going to be hard because even if she uses that wormhole, the minute she steps out of ice block to contest, that's going to be all curtains from here on out, firing as many shots as possible up in the high ground. Zenvale, as he's going to end up using the accursed arm, but not get much from it. Eevee's going to get healed, and Nara still being on point. And they may have just stalled this one out, and they do. That's going to be a stall for mixalazeub on a quad DPS draft here with Victor top damaging. But we have said it multiple times before, Victor top damages by accident sometimes. So I mean that this is to be expected.
I mean, I'm just finding it crazy that I thought the last thing they would get a point off of was a defense. I really didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought maybe they can win the mid, you know, get a few early picks, snowball it from there. But shockingly to me, they make that work. And I showed this at the start, but I'm going to show it again. I mentioned the Mutu dash build, and for those who aren't in the know, this is what it is. Mutu runs it on stream and ranked. I think he's run it in scrims, but he hasn't played as much. Competitive recently, of course. But having its dash distance, dash reset, and then you run Alacrity for the extra cooldown. You start Chronos 2 as Barcode did, and you are just dashing all over the map. We'll be seeing more and more of that as Barcode gets played here. But this mid, passive start, it looks like from them. But actually, look at this. P.E.K.K.A going onto the rim up top. Who would ever expect this? What a start to the fight.
And already, they're forcing them out. Princess P.E.K.K.A jump shots. Manages to find another unwilling suspect, as now they're going to find even another target here. 3 members down on the side of Interstellar. Flashbang goes out. Whether it finds this mark or not, Shaolin can't peek that regardless. Dismounted as the Androxus. They have to find a way to get back to point, if anything. They're pretty much playing like crazy right now. Of course, with a quad DPS comp, you have to, but they're going to get picked off. Barcode and sliding his way into a triple kill. Will it be the Quadra here? He's finding plenty of targets, plenty of heads to click on, and plenty of vacs to make sure that he can get those kills easily without a single need to aim, with 69% on the point for Interstellar.
And I have this in, but it looks like Devosi might be able to touch, but they're pulling a lot of people back, including an accursed arm spent into the back line. Ultimates are kind of not really doing much of anything, though. It gets Sneeze low, but doesn't stop it. But they distract Pady getting the next OT, and now he doesn't have the cooldowns to reset that.
Overtime is now ready. They are able to at least blink on, but you're not going to live for much longer, as now Interstellar are going to find themselves with a second point so far. A very great look, but I mean, this is the type of gameplay we were expecting anyway, for this to be a rough one for mixalazeub to even try and contest. But maybe they'll be able to pull off another successful defense. Who knows?
We'll see. The flankers can just get really aggressive to make it happen. Maybe P.E.K.K.A does it themselves after what they did at the start of the last mid. We can watch this Strix here getting aggressive. Complete isolation on Flasho. Or now known as Demo Heart. As they walk in, Strix though, P.E.K.K.A really missing the clutch shots, and it's hurting, and I think it could let Snaze open the door for even more kills.
Yeah, he's going to back up here, as now Zenvale is going to have to back up and make sure after he gets that killed, he finds another target that'll be easier for him to take out. Tries to challenge Princess P.E.K.K.A, or I should say Princess Zymphia, I believe is how you say that name. I'm not too sure. Princess P.E.K.K.A is going to go down, and then you have to deal with the Victor on the side here. They're going to find 3 kills once again on the side of Interstellar, as now mixalazeub really have to hold on for dear life, as this match almost seems to be drawing to a close here. But can they defend it like they did last time? That is the bigger question, as the cart is going to keep rolling forward. Let's try and crest over that hill.
Ooh, dangerous there. Look at actually the health on Barcode. I think he had 1. I couldn't see it in time, but very low. This car moves forward to watch Snaze, see if anyone can contest. Look at this. Yup, that's a pub, as they all go into everyone collapsing on the point at the same time, but they're all just flying into the Leon's auto aim.
Well, they've already traded out 2 for 2, and no one else can step on point, because the minute they are able to find those picks, sure, they all 5-stack rush directly onto the objective, but of course that leaves plenty of very, very good DPSs to remain uncontested and find those kills they need to. So Interstellar already at a 3-1. There's no tank for them. I mean, do you foresee anything working out for them right now, Chris?
Vaughn, I can't see anything but the mental image of just looking at all 5 members of mixalazeub,
right,
boy band posing, waiting for the cart to roll in to go in at the last second. But I don't know. They've gotten close. It really just comes down to the DPS duels, but I don't think P.E.K.K.A can get away with what they did last time, right? I mean, going up top, being unseen. tough to work for sure, but we'll see how they do this. This time they're sending Enviel up top to fight it, but Peck on the right. Now maybe they think someone's gonna match me, so I'll counter them, but the first shot gets missed, and the accursed arm searching, but not able to find anything just yet.
But at the same time, that means that no one can really peek out and grant them even more percentage on the point. Everybody else that was already pushing forward now is going to be dealt with, as the remaining members that were hiding from the accursed arm now have to try and find a way to retake here. But as soon as one of the two princesses goes down, it's going to be another one out of the mix. You find the second in the form of your healer, and now 3 DPS without a healer is going to be very unfortunate for them. Uber's Payday finds one, but no one can really make it back to point. No one's even mounted up to get there. That's going to be all she wrote. Interstellar with a very quick 4-1 on Bright Marsh, and they take the set.
Yeah, I mean, it was a quick one, but I don't think we expected anything else really with the draft that was pulled up. I mean, conceptually, I mean, we saw a lot of no tank comps work last patch, but that was kind of with multiple supports. That was with a pseudo tank and like having a buck or emoji or something like that. All characters that have kind of fallen off as they were all hit in I want to say Radiant Stars. I think that was the patch that hit those in particular, but those characters now not as effective. So the zero tank draft also kind of falling off in itself as well. We can look at the stats and see how the no tank draft did, at least damage wise. It can be I'm assuming, again, that's how you say that, 61,000, so out damaging everyone on the other side, but they had a tank to shoot into to actually soak damage, and no one on mixalazeub could really last through that much, even with Uber's actually top damage taken on the team with the lowest health pool, and not that much self-healing really either, only a little bit more than the Corvus, but Uber Spady still able to soak up a lot of damage for them, not quite as much as Snaze, though, to be expected, and the damage gonna be leaning towards Interstellar with having that Genos there to back them up.
Right, exactly. I think that's just what it came down to. It's hard to duel anyone, especially if it's a character that ends up getting counterpicked, or your character, the one it is that you're playing, ends up getting counterpicked. But it's even worse. You have to deal with a luminary buff behind it. It means that those trades are not going to always be in your favor, and that is that was very easily experienced firsthand by mixalazeub. 7, 8, and 3 and 6. I mean 6 and 10, 3 and 8, 6 and 8. I mean this is the type of play, or at least I believe the type of slash lines, I should say, that you would expect to see on a quad DPS composition.
Yeah, I think I would say so as well, definitely. I'd say expected with what they pulled out. I mean, it was worth a shot, right? I will say, though, because they didn't have somebody there for the first round, leading to that DQ game 1, which is why this game ended up being done in only 2 maps, I think it's why they did that. I think they didn't have multiple tank players. They didn't have their normal supports. They just said, well, let's bust out our comfort picks and maybe see what that can do for us. Wasn't exactly what they needed, so it'll keep them near the bottom of the standings, which I do have here now that we've seen all the European games from week 6 of the PPC. Look at your new top dog. It's a tie, but Yoinkers are up there right next to Clown Fiesta. I think fantastic look from them after picking up Prosper. They have kind of soared, as the Yoinkers eagle on their avatar would make you think as well. With Interstellar now dead center, 3 and 3 for them. Celestial and Chromospace both, I think, kind of better than they would look standing wise, right? The 2 and 4 for them. I don't see them as that level of team, but the level of play in Europe is just so high. And mixalazeub, hopefully they can get their players more on top of it for showing up to the games and being there, so we can see them perform more to how they looked in the relegations as opposed to how they looked today.
And of course, as the weeks go on, that sort of contested region that we've always given praise for to EU, especially, is the gap is going to keep on widening no matter what. That is very unfortunate for mixalazeub, but of course you still got plenty of weeks to see if you can try and make any sort of comeback
15.
and climb the ladder to see if you can really do anything, if you can get out of the last place spot. And I agree, Crescent, that is a lot of time to try and make a comeback. So you've got plenty of time to plan, figure out what it is that you feel like is going wrong as a team, and make sure that you can capitalize on it the next time you play your match.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do that in the coming weeks. We have about 9 to go, I think, so quite a ways, several months still ahead of us of the PPC, but we still have one more game ahead of us today over in Brazil. Parallax versus Carnage. This could be a title matchup. We'll see how it happens right after this break.